Hello everybody, welcome back to my shop. I'm Matt, and today I'm going to give you a bit of a shop tour. So, here I have two benches. I have my center bench, which is 9 feet by 3 feet. It's very handy to have. It helps me with every machine in the shop. I have a place to put down parts that I'm working on and set up my projects. It also acts as an outfeed table for my planer. Now this is my primary bench. This bench I do all my planing on, all my detailed work on. It's a good size by the window where I get all my natural light. I like it having a bit in the corner where I can have my tools in my cabinet right beside me where they stay clean, dust free. And my shooting boards hung up on the wall. So I have a nice wall space for any tools that I could possibly see myself buying, as well as space for a few little clamps. And of course I keep all my projects wrapped up underneath my bench there. They all stay under there. Now my shooting boards, I have a couple of videos on how they're hung up on the wall with French cleat. Basically just the block that holds it against so it doesn't move when you're using it has an angle on it that is opposite of what is on the wall, and it hangs like that. So it's very handy to have. Now the bench, this is a nice bench setup for one main reason, and that's because any work I'm doing with a shoulder fitting or planing, I can immediately turn around and have the part I'm fitting it to or matching whatever I'm working on right on this bench, and I have another place to put it down. Maybe I have clamps set up to check the fit all the time. This is where I do that, and it's very handy to have that. Now this is where I set up all my projects. So now I have a couple of different benches. I have one over there and one right behind the camera, as well as a table saw top that is large enough to be a bench, and I use it that way sometimes. So the reason I like that many benches is because when you're trying to protect parts, you're worried about dents, you're trying to wrap them back up. Well, if you're working on a large piece, that takes a few benches. You gotta take it apart and spread out all the parts. Then you have to have the space enough to carefully wrap it in a sheet, in a blanket, and then store it away. Also, when you're digging out parts, even in sequence, you need a place to pull them out of your bench and spread them out, select which ones you need, take them out of their blankets and put them back. So bench space is real important. So I use as much of that as I possibly can. Now I also have large machines, so space has always been a bit of a challenge. But anyways, over here, okay, so I got my sharpening station here. It's where I use all my whetstones. Easily accessible to my bench, so I really like that. And I got the horizontal boring machine over here. It's there now because it gives me more space around back here than I had before. I had another bench there before. I can also get more wood stored against that wall. It's a very good machine for storing things around, so wood is the best option there. It accommodates a lot more wood storage now. I plan to have those shelves moved in the future so that I can get more large planks stored there. I'm trying to make some room for some more wood. That is this corner of the shop. So now over in this corner, this is my vacuum tape. So I do my vacuum pressing on here. I have a bag cut to the appropriate size of the table, and a lot of storage space under here. Now I have some big forms that I've made under there, as well as some spare machine parts and some other things. Same with up above. I have bins for mock-up stuff, some joinery examples, a lot of exotic wood cut-offs they're small, usable for certain small things in the future that I keep around. and some project mock-ups. So a lot of storage here. Here I have a shooting board that is also held on to the wall by a French cleat. That is for doing edge joints on veneers. So whenever I'm veneering, I pull that down and I use it to do all my edge joints. Makes things quite a bit easier. Now I have some of these blankets that are tied to the wall here, so I can stretch them out, lay out my parts on there to protect them, and when I'm doing cutting in here I can just flip it over and keep all the dust off my parts, and I can just take it off the wall and wash it. So that's very handy here. Band-aids and stuff in there. Now this over here is my wide conversion unit AGS 14. It's a large table saw. It's 54 by 33 inches cast top. Takes a 14-inch blade, but I can certainly fit a 16 on there. I love this saw. There's a few things that I want to do to it. I have taken apart the fence system and cleaned it all up and put it back together. Now I have to take off the saw top and go underneath and play with things in there for a little while. And when I do that, I will paint it. But I love that saw. I love this saw. It works great. I can see it. I can see owning it for my entire life. Truthfully, it's 6 horsepower. So, you know, it's never going to bog down. It's going to cut whatever I need it to cut. But I really only use it as a crosscut saw. Don't rip very much unless I'm doing lumber core. And even then, what I'll do most of the time is rip on the bandsaw to about a blade width, or less than a blade width over my dimension, and then I will cut it the rest on the table saw. So, and even then it's a softer wood. It's not super hard. So I don't do much. I don't test it with rip cuts very much. Somewhere I believe I learned, whether it's true or not, I'm not too sure, that 75% of all workshop injuries are rip cut on a table saw. So, you know, if you don't rip cut on a table saw, then it's a pretty serious reduction in risk factor in your shop. So I do all my ripping on the bandsaw, which I will show you next. Now, I use a 14-inch blade for cutoffs, and I have a 14-inch ripped blade for utility stuff where I'll cut plywood if I need to, and then I have a 12-inch 80 tooth or 12-inch 100 tooth for joinery. So they're super fine cut blades. So they're FS tool, except for my utility blade. FS tool makes very, very nice blades. They are expensive, but you know, I'm going on 2.5 years now, and my main blade is still sharp. So it's gonna last me forever. I think you can sharpen them like 6 times, something like that, maybe 4 times. It depends on how long you leave it, I think, but you know, that should last me another few years. Anyways, now I have all my clamps up here. So I have 5 3-foot aluminums, 5 2-foot aluminums, 15 Westlers, a few different sizes, some 4-foot K bodies, some 2-foot K bodies, or some 1-foot K bodies. Now, I went with Westlers because they are very heavy duty, and they're just beautiful clamps. They work great. They're very strong. Personally, never use a better clamp than a Wetzlar, so I look for them. Wetzlar went out of business in 2011, I believe. But yeah, I want more. So now some of them have the metal wing nut on the bottom, which is that's never gonna go bad. So I like those. I just need to make myself a tool to get a little bit more pressure on them so I can crank them down. But either way, they work very well. Up here, I don't know if you can see that, but I have more lumber storage. I have 10 planks of wood up there that's been storing up there for about a year and a half. Most of it's utility wood, but there's pretty serious planks up there. So yeah, more lumber storage up there. Now that is this section. I have baseboard heat right there. Now it's good there because air can still escape from it. So I don't keep too much. Now, I used to have my bench over it, and the heater didn't really work all that well because the air couldn't circulate. So now I keep that open. So here, this is my bandsaw. It's the workhorse of this shop. I turn it on the most out of everything. I keep a 3/4 TriMaster triple chip resaw blade on there, carbide tip. Very nice blade. It's lasted a long time and it works very well. Cuts very nice. I can cut very good veneers on here. I've made a high fence to help me do that. Very nice fence. A lot of adjustment to it. Easy to adjust. It's great. So nice heavy door. Now this I believe is 1930 model. So it's very old. But it doesn't have the original guys. They're different guys. I can't remember the company, but I did find them. And those are also very nice. So, Davis & Wells 20 inch. I believe it's about 750 pounds. Now it takes a 11'8" blade. Whatever that is, at 140 inches. I have taken it apart, repacked the bearings, painted it, and put it all back together. So I did mess around with the motor mounts a little bit and fixed them up. It's 3-horse single phase, so it has been converted. However, I do also have the original 1-horse three-phase model, three-phase motor. I kept it. So yeah, so I have that if I ever choose to switch back. I don't think 3 horsepower is absolutely necessary, but it is 3-phase, so or it is single phase, so I'll just keep that for now. And if I ever choose to go to 1 horse, I'll go back to it. Now I have a bench here with some drawers that is still sort of incompleted, but I'm going to remake that cabinet eventually. But now this bench here, I'm going to move the toolbox off it, it's the plan anyways, is going to be for laying out parts, particularly for the bandsaw and the shaper, when I'm doing joinery and running grooves on the shaper, which is behind here. I won't talk too much about that now, because you can't see it. But just another work surface, really, in between all my machines. Sometimes this one gets packed up with stuff, so it's good to have that there. I used to have it over there with more. So this is the spot in the shop where I can store the longest pieces of wood. I can go at it right up to 10 feet and just get it into place. So that's reserved for large planks. I've got them chained up so nothing falls against me. Some plumbing pipe screwed to a plate on the wall. That works well. And then of course I have my 9¼ inch joiner. This is my second joiner. This is a Wackenberg FS2. It's a railing machine. 3-knife cutter head. It's nice and big as well. It's also skewed. So it's a skewed cutter head, which is very, very cool. I haven't seen many of these machines really on Google. I've only seen one other Wackenberg one. I've seen a couple of the birch greens. I'm missing some table handle lifts for it, which isn't that big of a deal. It's literally just a threaded screw. So I just need to get those made. It does run. I have it hooked up to a static phase-o-matic, so it's on its own. Original switch and everything. So it's 3-horse, 3-phase. So it's a nice machine. probably the best made machine I own in here, to be honest. So, wood wall, jointer, and of course here I've got my hand grinder and my power tools, a shelf for my power tools, my breaker box right there. So that's this corner. Okay, here I have my Wyken BEN spindle molder. Now I bought this without the spindle that takes collets. So I got this spindle made by this loose top piece made by AMS Machinery. Wasn't cheap, but it's done very nicely. So I use this as just a big router table with the ability to go bigger and use it as a spindle molder, which is very handy. That's very good to me. What I am cost-wise into this machine, to have a spindle molder and a really nice router table. You look at really nice router tables; they're not cheap. So I'm not much more into that, and I can put ginormous cutters on this. I have a 6-inch by 3.5-inch diameter, big, baseboard molder for this thing. Really, great fence, nice flat top. I have 1/4 and 1/2-inch collet. So, yeah, this works great. It's got an electric brake, or it's got a. I can turn off the machine and hold it until it stops with that there, which is very handy. 3-phase, 4 horse. So all of my 3-phase machines, except for one, goes to a VFD, 7.5 horsepower VFD. So that's the shaper. Great tool. So this is more of the machinery side of my shop, where I have essentially my machines jammed over here, keeping them away from my bench. It helps with dust, first of all. If my bandsaw is too close to my main bench, it gets really, really dusty. I do have an air filter above here to clean the air. I do have something. But here I've got my planer, my 12-inch joiner, and my drill press. Now the drill press is 1926, I believe, Boyce Crane, my grandfather's. It's a nice little press. I've made a depth stop for it, and it is missing a return quill, so I do have to manually lift it. It's not that big of a deal. I put a heavy enough handle on it to keep it up when it's there. 13-inch Delta planer, does its job. It's a good little machine. I like it. I use my bench as an outfeed for when I have long parts, and I have used that before. It's worked very well. My 12-inch water conversion in BFT. Great machine. It's two cutter. It's 2-blade cutter head, but the cutter head is about 4 inches in diameter, so it's got a lot of weight to it, and it cuts great. I have taken it completely apart, bolt by bolt, and I've cleaned all the rust off of it. I just didn't paint it, which I should have. Now, I like to strip them before I paint them, but I think with these machines, as I get bigger into bigger machines, I'm just going to brush paint them and brush over them for now anyways. It's something that I'm getting better at doing, but I needed the 12-inch joiner for one main reason, that's veneering. So I can get a 12-inch plank and I can cut off what I need and cut it into veneers. That's really why I wanted the 12-inch joiner. Now I have another one right here, so I'll show you that next. But yeah, so that's the other workhorse of my shop. Now I keep these in. I keep this right behind the bandsaw, and that's because you often go from the joiner to the bandsaw, especially in veneering. So it's very handy to have it that way. Same with the planer, joiner to the planer, right? Maybe sometimes even the bandsaw with the planer when you're ripping things to width. So That's the purpose for that layout here. And honestly, drill press is the smallest one, it's the easiest to move, and it's the easiest to fit into spaces. So it fits right there. It fits there well. Other than that, this is the bay door. This is where I get things into the shop. So, well, everybody, that is my shop space. Thank you for paying attention. I'm looking forward to providing some more great video content, and I will get better at the recording process and editing as time goes on. If you have any questions about my shop space, please feel free to leave a comment. I will respond to it, whether it's a comment or a video. I'll decide as it happens. Now, I don't pay much attention to the woodworking community outside on YouTube. I'm just doing my own thing, so please be aware of that. But I am a great page to be paying attention to for people that want to improve their hand tool woodworking in their shop space. So please subscribe. I would like to hear what you have to say. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe for some great woodworking content.